She's so fine, hell of her, blows my mind. Hell of her, lights my day.
What's good, guys? This story is coming out of Salt Lake City, Utah. The article is from yesterday, and the incident itself happened on Saturday, May the 1st. Domestic violence shooting victim found dead on I-80. Suspect in custody. Police have released new details after a woman was found dead in a vehicle on I-80 early Saturday morning. Police were called to the scene of a single vehicle crash around 3 o'clock a.m. between westbound State Street and 700 East exits. When they arrived, the driver was gone and they found a deceased female passenger with gunshot wounds. She was later identified as 32-year-old Shandon Nicole Scott. According to Unified Police, Scott and her boyfriend, Terrence Trent Vos, were in a domestic dispute and altercation at a home in the Nibley Park area of Millcreek, just off 700 East.
New information tonight in a shooting and crash that left a 32-year-old Salt Lake City woman dead. We told you about this at 5. We do have new information. Unified Police say the woman, she's been identified as 32-year-old Shandon Nicole Scott. Police say Scott was killed after being found shot to death, and that followed a crash. Now, the discovery shutting down portions of I-80 this morning.
We had a bystander that was driving behind the vehicle that saw the accident happen and called 911 to report the accident. And the accident was the initial call for service that we responded to assist, but it's evolved past a vehicle accident.
Police now believe Scott was shot and killed near 700 East and Nibley Court in Millcreek. She was in the passenger seat of the car. It was part of a domestic violence incident, according to police. The person dead. We told new information tonight in a shooting and crash that left a 32-year-old Salt Lake City woman dead. We told you about this at 5. We do have new information. Unified Police say the woman, she's been identified as 32-year-old Shandon Nicole Scott. Police say Scott was killed after being found shot to death, and that followed a crash. Now, the discovery shutting down portions of I-80 this morning.
We had a bystander that was driving behind the vehicle that saw the accident happen and called 911 to report the accident. And the accident was the initial call for service that we responded to assist, but it's evolved past a vehicle accident.
Police now believe Scott was shot and killed near 700 East and Nibley Court in Millcreek. She was in the passenger seat of the car. It was part of a domestic violence incident, according to police. The person arrested in connection to her death is believed to be her boyfriend. His name, though, hasn't been released tonight by police.
Police believe at some point during the fight, Vos shot Scott and then drove them both away from the area. He crashed into a wall on the freeway about 1.5 miles away, then fled on foot. He was later found nearby and taken into custody. A neighbor told Fox 13 he heard people fighting late Friday night and into early Saturday morning. They were fighting in a carport until the neighbor asked them to stop, at which point he says they got into a car and continued fighting. Around 3 a.m., he heard 4 gunshots. Quote, "It is really difficult for me because I wish I had been able to do something more for her," the neighbor said. "It is difficult. You never expect that to happen right where you live," end quote.
I love you, Shandon, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. But we all love you.
Just heartbreaking tonight. Now these candles are glowing for Shandon Nicole Scott as her loved ones say goodbye. Police suspect Scott was killed by her boyfriend in Millcreek and then left dead in a car on I-80 as he fled the scene.
Fox 13 Sydney Glenn joining us live tonight near the Vigil at Fitz Park, where she spoke with those who loved Shandon Nicole Scott. Sydney.
Brian and Amy, that vigil is still going on right back here with the park. Of course, for privacy reasons, we're giving them some space here, but family and friends just say they are heartbroken about what happened to their dear friend.
Angry. I'm so enraged.
It's a goodbye no one was prepared for.
Always laughing. Just such a good spirit.
Shandon Nicole Scott's life was stolen from her.
I don't know. It's just horrible.
And the people who loved her.
She was so loved and so cared about.
As Heather Redford prepares for a vigil for her best friend.
It's my soul sister.
She's having a hard time thinking about what police say happened.
And the way that she was left, like she was nothing on the side of the freeway.
Scott's boyfriend is suspected of being the one who pulled the trigger.
He sure deserves everything that he has coming to him. Everything.
Redford hopes he sees this from a prison cell.
You took that woman away from all of us. A mother, a daughter, a sister, a best friend. Like, you took her away from all of us.
Now, as those who love her light candles and release balloons to say goodbye, they hope her legacy will live on.
I love you, Shandon, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through this.
Shandon is a single mother of 2 young children, doing it all on her own. Her family has set up a GoFundMe page to help her children. We have more information on that over on our website, fox13now.com. Live in South Salt Lake, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
New charges are pending for Terrence Trent Vos, 31, who has been returned to the Utah State Prison for parole violation. He will be charged with the fatal shooting of Shandon Nicole Scott, 32, who was found mortally wounded inside a crash car on I-80 near 200 East early Saturday morning. Vos was first tried as an adult in 2007 at age 17, when he was found guilty of discharging a firearm from a vehicle on the highway, with additional charges dismissed as part of a plea deal. In 2008, he was found guilty of purchase or possession of a dangerous weapon and obstruction of justice. In 2015 and 2016, he was charged with felony discharge of a firearm, and in both cases, charges were dismissed. Also that year, one witness tampering charge was dismissed, but he was found guilty of another. In 2017, Vos pleaded guilty to aggravated assault by a prisoner and possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person. In a 2019 case, Vos was found guilty of unlawful possession, purchase, transfer of a dangerous weapon with a second count dismissed. 2 counts of aggravated assault by a prisoner were also dismissed with prejudice. When Vos was at large in 2016, Salt Lake City Police released the flyer below, and I'm going to show that on the screen. Officials had previously said in the news release that an outstanding aggravated felony warrant had been issued for Vos of Salt Lake City. Police warned Vos was a member of the Black Mafia gangsters and should be considered armed and dangerous. Detectives investigating Scott's death have said they believe she was wounded by her boyfriend during a domestic argument at a residence on Nibley Park in Millcreek. They said the boyfriend, whose name had not previously been released until yesterday, then placed Scott inside the car and was driving on I-80 when he hit a traffic barrier. When first responders arrived, the boyfriend was allegedly seen running from the accident site, UPD Public Information Officer Sergeant Melody Cutler said. He was taken into custody a short while later after being confronted by officers in the parking lot of a nearby church. Investigators say the couple had a history of domestic violence. The investigation is ongoing as police try to answer several remaining questions, such as exactly when and where she was shot and when she died. The family has set up a GoFundMe for Shandon Nicole Scott, and I will put the link in the description box for those that want to view that. It's always helpful for the family, even if you don't want to share the article itself, or the video rather, on social media. If you just share the GoFundMe, you never know when you're going to be on the other side of it. And it's always a blessing to be a blessing, if that makes sense. I'm going to end the story on that note, but my prayers go out to her family. She had 2 children, a 15-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son, and I will keep them in my thoughts and prayers. You guys have a good night. Thanks for watching.